Lewis and Clark Meet the Indians by Amanda Entringer. In May of 1804, Meriwether Lewis and his friend William Clark began a journey toward the Pacific Ocean. They were given orders by Thomas Jefferson to explore the new land that was recently bought by the United States. This land was called the Louisiana Purchase. Along the way, Lewis and Clark encountered over 50 American Indian groups, in which they learned quickly that there is no generic American Indian. They were given strict orders on how to approach the American Indians. Peace medals were made and distributed to the American Indians. They had Thomas Jefferson's portrait on one side and a sign of friendship on the other. These medals were to symbolize that the United States now owned the land the American Indians lived on. Of the 50 tribes, 15 of them played a large role in helping Lewis and Clark during their expedition. Their first encounter was in July of 1804 with the Otto Indians. A ceremony was held and Lewis and Clark communicated with the Ottos that all American Indian tribes needed to seek peace with one another. The next two encounters took place in August with the Yankton Sioux and the Missouri Indians. Both groups were very excited to begin trade with the United States, but when they learned that the U.S. was not going to provide them with everything they wanted, they weren't as willing to trade. During the fall, the explorers came in contact with the Acara, the Assiniboine, and the Teton Sioux Indians. They lived in the area of present-day North Dakota, South Dakota, and Montana. The Acara were mainly farmers, and therefore much of future trade came from these first encounters. The Assiniboine, however, were not very welcoming, and the explorers became fearful of what an encounter with them would lead to. Communication became a large issue when meeting with the Teton Sioux, and because of this, that led to many unresolved problems. During the winter of 1804 and 1805, they stayed at Amanden Village. They provided Lewis and Clark with food and shelter during this time. Also during the winter months, the Hidattas feared that the Americans were going to attack their village. However, Lewis made sure that it was clear to them that they were seeking peace. Their next big encounter then wasn't until August of 1805 when they encountered the Shoshone Indians. They provided horses for the expedition, which was much needed for travel since they were now entering into mountain territory. They were also now accompanied by a Shoshone girl who would act as their translator. After traveling through the Rocky Mountains, Lewis and Clark came to Clearwater and Snake River. A member from the Nez Perce named Twisted Hair was able to help them build boats to cross the river. During October of 1805, Lewis and Clark met the Walla Walla and the Wishram Indians. Thanks to Sacagawea, they were able to communicate with both groups and make trade. In December of 1805, they came in contact with the Chinook and the Clatsop Indians. The Chinooks came across as welcoming people, but ended up stealing from Lewis and Clark, whereas the Clatsop leader helped Lewis and Clark travel during the colder months. The last two encounters were with the Tillamook and the Blackfeet Indians. The Tillamook provided them with whale to eat. However, a fight ended up with the Blackfeet Indians, and 2 of their tribe members were killed. In conclusion, Lewis and Clark learned that there is no such thing as a generic American Indian, and although they were not able to achieve peace with all tribes, they were grateful for the ones they did. The end.